Governors, thanks to both of you. I want to begin by talking about the role of government in Virginia and the country. This is a high-profile Senate race for the nation, certainly very important for the Commonwealth, and it's also occurring in the shadow of the presidential debate. So I'd like to ask you about the 47% that we heard something about this week. Governor Romney, in some remarks that were taped at a fundraiser earlier this year, talked about how there's 47% of the country that does not pay federal income tax. He said that they believe they are victims, who believe the government has a responsibility to care for them, who believe they are entitled to health care, to food, to housing, you name it. Governor Kaine, there's over 1 million Virginians who fall into the category of not paying a federal income tax, part of that 47%. What would you do about that? Do you think that should change? And what do you think more generally about whether too many Virginians, too many Americans by extension, are too dependent on government for basic needs in their life?
David, I heard those statements, and you can say something off the cuff that you regret, but I really deeply disagree with the sentiment expressed by Governor Romney. I don't meet Virginians who think they're victims, and the notion that they need to have people take personal responsibility for them is frankly condescending and divisive. The last thing we need to do at this moment is to divide people one against each other. This nation is divided enough and we're wedged apart enough. We ought to be pulling people together. I think that as we talk about these long-term issues of the country's fiscal policy, we got to have shared sacrifice. Everybody has to be in the game if we're going to fix our budget issues. And we have an excellent opportunity to start right now, because we've got an issue on the table now that's immediate, that is going to call upon Congress and the President, and that is, how do we deal with these year-end budget cuts? Rather than divide Virginians and divide Americans, let's come together on them. And I have a simple and specific idea about how we can come together. We will let the Bush tax cuts expire as planned for people making more than $500,000. We will fix Medicare so that we can negotiate to get better prices on prescription drugs. We will let the tax subsidies to the big 5 oil companies expire. If we do that, we then have to find, by year end, about $235 billion in savings over 10 years. We can do that in the short term.
I'll pin you down on one point. Do you believe that everyone in Virginia should pay something in federal income tax?
Well, everyone pays taxes. I mean, the statistics that have come out.
I'm asking about federal income tax.
I would be open to a proposal that would have some minimum tax level for everyone, but I do insist. Many of the 47% that Governor Romney was going after pay a higher percentage of their income in taxes than he does.
Because he pays on earned income tax.